Welcome to today's Open Heavens Daily Devotional, written by Pastor Enoch Adeboye.
Day 14th July 2026. Topic: Deliverance from physical burdens. Memory verse: Matthew 9 verses 35. And Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. The message: in John 19 verse 16 to 17, some Roman soldiers were leading Jesus to Golgotha to be crucified, and they made him carry a heavy cross. He had been thoroughly beaten earlier and must have been very weak, yet they made him carry this heavy burden by himself. On the way, they met a man from Cyrene named Simon, and I believe that God prompted them to compel him to assist Jesus in carrying the cross to the place he was to be crucified. Simon is an example of a burden bearer. He helped Jesus to lift his heavy burden. Beloved, Jesus Christ wants to help you carry every burden that might be weighing you down. This is why he said that we should come to him with whatever burdens you will be carrying, so that he will relieve you and give you rest. It is important to know that there are different categories of burdens. Today, I will discuss physical burdens. For example, Naaman had a physical burden, which was in the form of an incurable disease. Likewise, Luke 13 verse 10 to 17 tells us about a woman, the spirit of infirmity, who was bent double. Everywhere she went, people could see the visible manifestation of the burden she was carrying. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't stand up straight. Also in John 5 verse 2 to 9, the Bible tells the story of a man who had been by the pool of Bethesda for 38 years, and I imagine that he had a long-standing physical burden, and I imagine that his family and friends had abandoned him because of his infirmity. By God's grace, however, Jesus the burden bearer approached him and lifted his long-lasting burden instantly. Verse 3 verses 1 to 6 also tells us the story of a man who had a physical deformity. One of his hands was withered, meaning that it was dead and no longer useful. He was limited because he could no longer use one of his hands. However, when the burden bearer met him at the synagogue, he had mercy on him and he was made whole.